All right. Good evening, everyone. Please, I hope everybody is fine, right? I hope everybody has eaten as well, right? Please, how are you all doing? I hope you are fine. And I hope my voice is okay. You can hear me as well, right? All right. So, we are, I've seen my international. We are good to go, right? Okay, sure. Then, as discussed, so we'll just go on straight to the what we want to do today because we'll be doing a lot, so we have to just all right. So I think the questions are they are let me see and they are quite a lot, but I said it's all from the slide, so I think we have to go through, and I'm sure maybe in the next because the questions on maybe the explanation I have to also give us, so maybe the session will be quite long, but maybe the usual time that we normally consume. Yeah. So I'm about to turn the camera off me to my laptop because that's where the questions are on it. So we will just go through as early as possible. So please, if you join the session as we normally do, you like the session, yes. So that we go along as we proceed. Okay. So I think when I'm done, I'm I'm combining the answers to what you are going to do. I'm trying my best. I think that's what I've been doing all day. So I'll do my best. Then maybe I'll share the documents with you so that maybe yeah, it's not easy, but then we are quite a lot, but I have to do that. And so maybe it's more. So I'll try my best and do that as well. Yeah. So all right. So I'm just turning the camera off me to against my laptop screen. So we will just start the questions. Because I said we will do a lot, so we have to start as early as possible. Yeah, as early as possible so that we can go along with it. Yes. So the questions, some are just essay questions, but then not essay as in essay. But if I read it, you will know. You also have some case studies as well. Yes, so we have case studies as well, and we will delve into all of them as well. Yeah. So as always known, when you join a session, then you like the session, so that we know that at least we are all concentrating on the session. So you join, then you like. So I'm turning the camera off me to my screen here. All right. Okay. So I want to know from your end if is the screen adjustment okay? Can you see everything on the screen? Is it okay? If you join the session, then you like the session. Kindly like the session when you join. Yes, like the session when you join. Is the screen adjustment okay? Can you see everything on the screen? Can you let me know, please? Let me know, then we start. Okay. Let me know, then we start, please. Little blur. Someone says little blur. Is it little blur or it's okay? I'm sure it must be okay because I've adjusted the brightness and everything. So I'm very positive. It should be okay. It should be okay. Please, your voice is low. Please, is my voice still low? Or my voice is okay? Someone say my voice is low. Okay, thank you. You are saying it's okay now. So, all right. So now let's just zoom into our questions. As you know, this tutorial, let me say, this is not something like a sponsorship or something, but um, it's sponsored by Social Work Simplified. Let me put it that way. So we are here because of Social Work Simplified, and as you can see, the course for discussion is communication in social work. So this is a tutorial practice sample question that we are going to go through. Yes, and we know it's brought to us by Social Work Simplified. Yes, so it's just the questions and yes, this is the guy who composed the questions. That's the guy I won't mention the name. You know already. Yeah. All right. So I did the questions according to lectures, And I started from lecture 3 since you guys told me the lecture 3, there's a portion where your mid semester ended. So I wanted to take it from there. So that is where it started from. All right. So this is our first question. This is our first question. Yes. So you see, there are theory questions, and I have some spaces, assuming it's an exam sheet for you to write on it. Yes. Please, when you like the session, kindly like the session when you join. All right. Now the question one on the theory question section says that it says nonverbal communication has been estimated to transmit nearly 2/3 of meanings in ordinary interaction. In a well-structured essay, identify and explain 4 channels through nonverbal messages are communicated in social work practice. So this is the first question. I hope everybody can yeah, so Rasta, yeah, you've seen it. So that's the name of the composer, as you've rightly said it. So Oliver Twist composed this question that we are going to go through. Rasta Bakope. All right. So the first question says that nonverbal communication has been estimated to transmit nearly 2/3 of meaning in ordinary interaction. In a well-structured essay, identify and explain 4 channels through which nonverbal communication can be transmitted. Okay. Now, look at the question very, very well. Okay. It's a very direct, but then not that direct question. Okay. Not that direct question, but then it's going to be direct. Okay. Now, the as indicated, it's a theory question, so we have to come with our introduction. Okay. Now, in introduction, we have to start by defining what, let's say, communication is. Are you okay? We have to say something small about communication, and also um, something small about non-verbal communication. Are you getting it? Yes. So we can address this question by saying that. So you see, what I'm going to say is an introduction. It's not the answer to the question, but rather an introduction. So in the introduction, we can say that communication in social work extends beyond spoken words. Listen, in our introduction, we can write that communication in social work goes beyond spoken words. Are you okay? Communication in social work goes beyond social work. Are you okay? Now, we can move on by saying that research has shown that 2/3 of information is about non-verbal communication. Are you okay? Or 2/3 of information conveyed non-verbal communication. Are you okay? So for social work practitioners, understanding the various channels through which non-verbal communication travels is very important for our assessment and also our engagement with clients. I'm going over. I'm going over. So communication in social work goes beyond spoken words. Research has shown that nearly 2/3 of meanings conveyed in communication are non-verbal. And social work practitioners, for them to understand the various channels through which non-verbal communication travels, is very important for their engagement, their assessment, and also their planning. So this is just a brief introduction to the question. Please, are you okay? So in introduction, you try to let the markets know that you try to let them know the relevance of non-verbal communication in social work. That communication in social work goes beyond non-verbal communication. Okay. That communication in social work goes beyond spoken words. Okay. Communication in social work, like I'm trying to say that in your introduction, try to create something. Just an introduction about communication and also non-verbal communication. So that is what will go into your introduction. So in the introduction, you try to say that communication in social work goes beyond spoken words. Okay. Now you extend further by saying that research has shown that nearly 2/3 of meanings that we get in communication are non-verbal. And then you conclude by saying that for social workers practitioners to understand the various channels of non-verbal communication, it will help them in their engagement with their assessment and also for their interventions. Please, are you good with the introduction? So this one, this is just an introduction to the question. It's not the answer to the question. It's an introduction to the question. Please, are you good? Can you respond to me early and so I can proceed? You see, there are many questions, so we can do all. Okay. Are you good with introduction? So that is for the introduction. Now that we've done with the introduction, now we have to go straight to the main body of the question. Are you okay? Now the main body of the question is trying to say that we should explain four channels through which nonverbal communication are communicated in social practice. Okay, listen to me. I'm not trying to let you write whatever I'm trying to say. It's not like you are going to write everything I'm going to say. The purpose of this discussion is to understand how to go by the work. And I'm trying to say that in every question, you have to provide an introduction. And I've shown you how the introduction should go. Okay. Now, this question, you have to give an introduction. And in your introduction, you try to let the marker know that communication in social work goes beyond spoken words. That is verbal words. And then social workers understanding non-verbal communication is very important for their engagement, their assessment, and also their intervention with clients. That's just a simple introduction to the question. So I'm not trying to, it's not like I'm going to write everything I'm going to say. It's just the understanding of what I'm trying to say. So just understand what I'm saying and not trying to write everything I'm going to say. Okay. The only thing you can write everything I'm going to say is the points for the questions. But introduction, I'm trying to let you know how you can come with your own introduction. Please, are you good? Are you fine with what I'm trying to say? Are you fine? Please, are you fine with what I'm trying to say? Great. Now we are done with the introduction. We are coming to the question. So the question says that we should identify and explain. So listen, we should identify and explain four channels through which non-verbal messages are communicated in social practice. Now, this is the main body of the work. Now, what are some of the channels through which in social practice? Now, the first non-verbal or the first channel through which non-verbal communication are being transmitted is through facial expressions. Okay, so the first answer to this identify four, the first response to this question is what? Facial expressions. So facial expression is the first channel through which non-verbal communication is being transmitted. Are you okay? Now, when we say facial expression, we can't leave it like that. We have to explain facial expression. Now we can explain that according to research, the six basic emotions, and I hope you all know the six basic emotions, you know them. So according to research, the six basic emotions are all expressed in the face. Now we explain facial expressions. So now according to research, the six basic emotions, I hope you know them: happiness, sadness, surprise, fear, anger, disgust. They are all expressed in the face. So in social work interview, a client face may reveal feelings they are unwilling to put into words. In a social work interview, a client face may reveal feelings they are unable to put into words. Are you okay? So it's through this channel of nonverbal communication that will prompt the social worker to know that indeed this client is going through, indeed there is a discrepancy in what the client is telling me and what the body language is also, or what the facial expression is also trying to communicate. For instance, let's say someone eating a bitter lemon. You see, the lemon, some are good, but some are really, really bitter. Or let's say, let me even remove the bitter. Let's say someone is eating a lemon, and now the person facial expression is somehow, but then the person say that, oh, the thing is very, 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 like it has a good taste. Now you can say that no, looking at the person's facial expression and what the person is saying, the person is actually telling you lies, because the facial expression of the person is conveying a different message to what the person is trying to tell you. So that is what nonverbal, that is what facial expression does. So the first channel through which we communicate nonverbal communication is through facial expression. And with the facial expression, it helps us to decode the 6 basic emotions. That is happiness, sadness, surprise, fear, anger, and disgust. So all these 6 basic emotions are all expressed in the face or on the face. Now, through this facial expression as a means of conveying messages to the social worker. In an interview process, the social worker can actually tell if the client is telling the truth or the client is actually telling lies. So that is the first channel of nonverbal communication. That's facial expression. Please, are you good with the facial expression? Are you fine? Now you say it, then you try to explain it more and how it can help in social work practice. Are you okay? So that is it. All right. Now, the second channel through which nonverbal communication can be communicated or can be transmitted is through body language. Body language. So the second answer to the question is body language. Body language. Now, I hope you all know what body language, what it's about. So body language is about our gestures, our postures, and also our movements. So the way we move, the way we pose ourselves, and also our gestures is about our body language. Are you okay? Now, now with the body language, let's let's go further and say that the positions of a person's body often reflect their emotional state. Okay, the positions of a person's body always express their emotional state. For instance, if you go to visit your friend and your friends have put the hand at their jaws or the themselves, it simply means the person is actually going through something. So that is the body language. So our body language also communicates to us. So without asking the person any question, the person putting the hands towards the jaw that there's actually something. Are you okay? So body language is also one channel through which we can communicate nonverbal communication. Are you okay? Yes. So that is the second one. Now the third one is personal space. Personal space. Personal space. So personal space is also another channel through which nonverbal communication can be communicated. Personal space. Now, one will say, what's personal space? So when we say personal space, we are talking about the physical distance. So the physical distance maintained during communication. You see, so how close you are with someone communicates something, and how far you are away from someone also communicates something. So when we say personal space, it's about how close and how far you are with someone. Are you okay? So how close you are with someone means the person trusts you, and how strange you are or how far you are with someone also communicate something. Are you okay? So this also communicates what? It's also a way of communicating non-verbally. So when someone sees you and maybe they always come together and hug you, it means they are okay around you. Are you okay? But then when someone sees you and now at a distance they greet you, it also communicates something. So personal space is also a medium through which we can communicate non-verbal communication. Please, are we fine? That's the third one. That's the third one. Please, are we fine? All right. Now, the fourth channel through which we can communicate nonverbal communication is through silence. Through silence. You see, silence is also another channel through which nonverbal communication can be communicated. Silence is also another channel. Silence is also another channel. Now, silence is not the absence of communication. You see, it is a powerful communicative act. It may express companionship or a peaceful understanding. It can also express anger. So now silence has different interpretation. Some people, when you are talking to them and they are silently listening to you, it means they understood or they agree with what you are saying. Some people too, when they are silent, it means they are not going with you or they are not siding with you. So silence is also another way through which we can communicate non-verbally. So silence can mean agreement or agreeing with someone. It can also mean peaceful understanding, or another way, or it can also mean anger or despair. So silence is also a way that we can use. So silence is also another way that we can use to communicate non-verbally. So as social workers who employ silence as a deliberate technique must be knowledgeable about the client's needs. So sometimes when the clients come to you and they are talking, you have to be silent and listen to them. You being silent doesn't mean that you don't care about them. But you silently listen to them means you really care about their emotions, and now you want them to freely talk to you and pour out their emotion. That is why you are silent. Are you okay? So these are the four main channels through which we can communicate non-verbally. So the first channel is what? Is through facial expression. Now the second channel is through body language. The third channel is through personal space. And the fourth channel is through silence. Now, these are the four main channels through which we can communicate non-verbally in social work practice. Now, this is the main body. Now, we have to conclude. So, in conclusion, we can say that non-verbal communication flows through multiple channels, such as now we mentioned them: facial expression, body language, personal space, and silence, and all of which carry rich information than spoken words. And social work practitioners who develop competency across these channels are better equipped to understand the client needs. So, in conclusion, we can conclude that nonverbal communication flows through different channels, such as facial expression, body language, personal space, and silence, and all of which carry rich and honest information than spoken words. And social workers' ability to understand these channels will help them better understand clients' needs. This is just the simple conclusion to the question. Please, are we good? I'm done with the first question. Are we fine? Please, are we fine? So that is the answer to the question. First of all, we have to create an introduction. And in introduction, you try to talk something more about communication, trying to open the marker eye that communication in social work goes beyond spoken words, and that two-thirds of the meaning that we have in communication are conveyed non-verbally, and that social workers' ability to understand the channels through which we communicate non-verbally will be able to help them to understand their engagement process with the clients and also the client's needs. So this is something in the introduction. Now we come to the main question to list the channels, say something small about them, then we conclude. That is all about the question. Okay. Now let's go to question two. Okay. So I think with the question two, it actually came in your MSM as you told me, but I added it. But then we will not go over it since you know it already. So research identifies these universal basic facial expressions, and I hope you know the facial expressions that are universal. So we have happiness, sadness, surprise, fear, anger, and disgust. You know them. So he said we should, in the essay form, we should identify any four of them. Then we should write something small about them. I think this one it came in your mid semester. So yeah, so that is what. So these are essay type questions. So because it's essay type, you have to come with an introduction and also a conclusion. They all have marks, so don't omit them. Don't omit them because they have introduction and conclusions. Okay. Okay. Now question three. Question three. Okay. Question three says that In a well-organized essay, outline 3 reasons why decoding another person's nonverbal cues can sometimes be inaccurate. Okay, so the question is very, very simple. Why is it that sometimes decoding nonverbal cues or nonverbal informations becomes what? Inaccurate. So in a well-organized essay, outline 3 reasons why decoding another person's nonverbal cues can sometimes be inaccurate. So this is a very, very simple question. So why is it that sometimes decoding nonverbal cues becomes inaccurate? Are you okay? So that's very, very important. And as I said, now we have to come with a little small introduction. Okay. Please, if you join the session, kindly like the session for us. Okay. All right. Now, a very small introduction to the question, then we come to the main body itself. Okay. All right. Now, in introduction, see, normally you can get the introduction from even the question itself. You can derive the introduction from the question itself. Are you okay? Now, in introduction, you can say that while nonverbal, listen, this is the introduction, very simple. While nonverbal communication provides social workers with invaluable information about client emotions, while nonverbal communication provides social workers with invaluable information about client emotions, it is sometimes very difficult to decode the meanings behind them. So I'm starting again. While nonverbal communication provides social workers with rich information about client emotions, sometimes it becomes very difficult to decode or make meanings out of them. So this course, and I said, so let me even make it simple. This essay, so now you are just concluding on the introduction. So in this essay, I'm going to highlight some of the reasons that makes nonverbal communication or nonverbal cues sometimes inaccurate in decoding. Simple as that. Please, do we get the simple introduction to the question? So you can actually get the introduction from the question itself. Please, are you good? Please, are you good with the small introduction I gave? So I'm saying that in this question, if you are doing introduction, you can actually get introduction from the question itself. So you can actually say that, see, that even though or in as much as non-verbal communication provides or give the social worker rich information about the client's feelings, sometimes it becomes difficult for the social worker to make meanings out of them. So in this essay, I am going to highlight some of the reasons why sometimes decoding nonverbal communication becomes inaccurate. So this is just an introduction. Please, are we fine? Are we fine? So this is just a simple introduction to it. As I said, sometimes you can get the introduction from even the question itself. This I think you should be fine. Because as I said, you can get the intro from the question itself. Very, very simple. Now we've come with our intro. We are going to the question itself. Okay, so the question is, why is it that sometimes decoding another person's nonverbal cues can sometimes be inaccurate? So that's the question. Inaccuracy of nonverbal cues. Now, the first reason why nonverbal cues can be sometimes inaccurate is what we term as what? The reason of affect blends. Affect blends. So affect blends. So even if I have to even put the answer here. So let me see you let me finish. Okay, so the first reason why decoding another person's nonverbal cues can sometimes be inaccurate is what? One, affect blends. And I hope you all know affect blends. So affect blends occurs when different parts of the face simultaneously register two different emotions. Okay, that is what we term as affect blends. So when we say affect blends, is when the person's face is carrying two different emotions. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen this. This I don't know whether it's a trend. They normally there's this sticker on WhatsApp, and I think it's even on TikTok and other social media platform. There's this guy. There's this guy having a big head. The guy was actually crying, and in short space, the guy switched from crying to smiling, like to laughing or something like that. Oh, there's this sticker, not like you can see it. I know those of you online, you normally you have seen this. What I'm trying to say. There's this sticker, or I don't know, a meme or something on online. That there's a guy. The guy was actually crying, and he immediately switched from crying to laughing. So that is why we call affect blends. It's when someone is blending two emotions at the same time. Oh, that guy, I think the guy has a very big teeth. Like I think the canines are very, very big. Like that guy, you know what I'm trying to talk about. Yes. So the guy was actually crying. Immediately he just switched from crying to laughing. So that is why we call affect blends. So when someone is actually conveying, or when the face is conveying two different emotions at the same time, it is what? Affect blends. Now, what I'm trying to talk about, that guy, we don't know whether he was crying or he was laughing. So in that state, it became very, very difficult for you to 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 um to decode what the guy is inside. Whether the guy is let's say is very happy, or the guy is very, very sad. So that's why we call affect blends. So affect blends occurred when different parts of the face simultaneously register two different emotions at the same time. Okay, so for instance, let's say a client will come to you, and now when the client is um okay, so the client come to you and say that um my let's say you said something, and it's like, please, it came in the missing. All right, no, no problem, no problem. It's came, no problem, but we have to still address it so that we can move on. Okay, so that's the first one. So affect blends is one of the reasons why sometimes decoding non-verbal or cues become inaccurate. So that's the affect blends. And then the second one is what? The second reason is also suppressed emotions. Okay, suppress emotions. So suppress emotions is also one of the reasons why sometimes decoding someone's non-verbal cue becomes inaccurate, because sometimes some people can suppress their emotions and you might not know what they are actually going through. Are you okay? So they will maybe they are actually going through something, but then when immediately they see you, they will pretend as if everything is okay, but then actually they are not okay. So that's why that suppress emotions. And now the third reasons why that makes decoding non-verbal cues very, very inaccurate is also why we term as cultural what is culture. Culture. This sometimes culture makes some people express their emotions in a certain way that in social you cannot express your emotions. That's what culture is saying. So there is a culture saying that Berryman, okay. So sometimes that is a man does not cry. So you see, this one can make it very, very difficult for you to know if the person is actually happy or not. So that is what. So these are some of the reasons why it became very, very, very important to decode someone's nonverbal cues. Please, I hope we are fine. Yes. So now, in conclusion, you can conclude by saying that as we always do, that affect blends emotional suppression and also culture can create conditions under which nonverbal cue decoding can produce inaccurate interpretations. That sometimes because of this factor that we've highlighted, it makes decoding nonverbal cues very inaccurate in its interpretations. So this is just a simple conclusion for the question. Now let's move on to the next question. And the next question is actually a case study. Yes, it's a case study. Okay, it's a case study. All right. So now let's read this case study together. Kindly focus on it if you can see the case study while I read. So I'm reading, but just focus, pay attention to it. Okay. Now, So the case study is about an interview, right? So Kofi, a second year social work intern, is conducting an initial assessment interview with a 35-year-old male client named Mr. Asante, who has been referred for suspected substance abuse. During the interview, Mr. Asante verbally insists he has stopped using drugs entirely. However, Kofi notices that Mr. Asante frequently breaks eye contact and blinks rapidly when asked about the last time he used drugs. He also tends to scratch his nose and twist his fingers whenever a direct question is posed. At one point, Mr. Asante gives a very broad smile and says, I am perfectly fine. But Kofi notices a brief frown flashing across his face just before the smile appears. So this case study is about a 35-year-old Mr. Asante who a second year social work intern called Kofi, okay, is interviewing him. And apparently, Mr. Asante has been referred for suspected drug or substance abuse. So he was doing substance and he has been referred for a particular place. Now, during the interview, Mr. Asante verbally insists that he has stopped using the drugs. So you see these people who are on drugs, nobody will admit that they are on drugs. They will always say that, oh, I've stopped. But yes, still, they are still in it. So the person says, the scientist says that he has stopped using the drugs entirely. But however, Kofi also noticed that when he was conducting the interview, there was a break eye contact and also a blink rapidly when he asked Mr. Asante about the last time he used drugs. And he also noticed that Mr. Asante also scratched his nose and also twists his fingers whenever a direct question is posed. And finally, Kofi also noticed that Mr. Asante gives a broad smile and says, I am perfectly fine. But Kofi notices a brief frown flashing across his face just before the smile appears. So this is the case study, and the case study is on nonverbal communication and also detection of deception. So the case study is on nonverbal communication and detection of deception. So that is when we say deception, it's what? Lies. Someone's actually telling lies. So how can we detect a deception? So that's what the case study is about. Now let's go to our questions. So the first question says that based on the case above, write an essay identifying two specific nonverbal cues Kofi observed and naming the category of deception detection each cue belongs to. Okay. Now the first question says that based on the case we've read above, we should write an essay identifying two specific nonverbal cues Kofi observed and naming the category of deception detection each cue belongs to. Now, we can actually know that in the case study, Kofi noticed about three nonverbal cues in the case study. Are you okay? Now, as indicated, maybe you can, I don't know how the question will be, but since it is 4 marks, maybe we can choose to write a small introduction to the question, or maybe we can just go straight to the answers. Okay. So I think let's go straight to the answers. I think let's go straight to the answers. Okay. All right. Now, the first nonverbal cue Kofi noticed, the first nonverbal cue Kofi noticed is what? Scratching, is Mr. Asante scratching his nose and also twisting his fingers whenever a direct question was posed to him. Okay, so this is the first nonverbal cue Kofi okay, so this is the first one. I want to highlight it into red so that you know it. Okay, so the one in red is the first nonverbal cue. So the first nonverbal cue Kofi noticed was what? That Mr. Asante scratch his nose and twist his fingers whenever a direct question is posed to him. So this is the first nonverbal cue. And then the question says that we should identify the nonverbal cue. So now this is it. And also we should name the category of this deception detection each cue belongs to. So where can this detection of deception falls? So this is the nonverbal cue. So where can we categorize this nonverbal cue under the detection of deception? Okay. Now, this nonverbal cue, that is scratching your nose, twisting your fingers, can be categorized under adapters. So you see, under the deception of detection or detection of deception column, we have several of them. Now, the first one is what? Adapters. So when we say adapters, is when someone is making, maybe like the person is scratching maybe the face, trying to play with the fingers and other things. They are called adapters. So if Mr. Asante is scratching his nose and twisting his fingers, are you okay? Whenever a direct question is posed, it means that we can this highlighted one is a nonverbal cue, and we can categorize this nonverbal cue under adapters. So the deception detection category, we can place this nonverbal cue is adapters. Please, are you getting what I'm trying to say? So that is what adapters. So the question says that we should identify the nonverbal cue, that's one, and place it under its detection or deception detection what category. So this first nonverbal cue is can be placed under adapters. Okay, now that is the first nonverbal cue. Now the second nonverbal cue we can also talk about is this one. I think Mr. Asante. So this one, Mr. Asante frequently breaks eye contact and blinks rapidly. Okay, and blinks what? Rapidly. Whenever he was asked about the last time he used drugs. So this is also the second one. Now let me use a different highlighter for you to know. Let me use, I think green will be fine. Okay. So now the second nonverbal cue in this question. Okay. The second nonverbal cue in this question is that is the breaks of eye contact and blinks rapidly when he was asked about the last time he used drugs. Okay, so that is the second nonverbal cue. Okay, that's the second nonverbal cue in this case study. Now, where can we also classify this nonverbal cue under the detection of deception? Okay, now under the course, we can categorize it under what? Eye contact indicator. So eye contact is also one detection of what deception areas. So that's eye contact. It's in your slides. You know it in your slides. Okay. So we can also classify this under eye contact. It's there in your slides. Okay. Now this is how we solve the questions. So the question is actually in two forms. The first one is that we say we should identify two specific nonverbal cues in the case study that Kofi observed. Now, these are the two things. Kofi observed a breaks eye contact and blinks rapidly from Mr. Asante. That's one. Two, he also observed that Mr. Asante was scratching his nose and twisting his fingers. That is two. So these are the nonverbal cues in the case study. But then where we categorize them under deception detection is that the first one, that scratching of the nose, is called adapters. And also the eye contact is also can be classified under eye contact under the deception detection category. Please, are you fine? Please, are you fine? Please, are you fine? Please let me know if you are fine so you can move on. Okay, very fine. That's fine. Okay. Now, in the same essay, so they are saying that in the same essay, so that's in the same essay. So it said that in essay form, I hope you can actually see it, right? I hope you can actually see it, right? Please, can we see it? Okay, so the second question says that in essay form, explain the name of fleeting facial expressions Kofi observed and what it reveals about Mr. Asante true emotional state. Are you okay? So the question is trying to say that we should explain the name of the fleeting facial expression Kofi observed and what is revealed or what it reveals about Mr. Asante's true emotional state. Okay, now the question says that what Kofi observed during the interview, what is it trying to tell about Mr. Asante's emotional state? Okay, now we can say that the brief frown Kofi noticed flashing across Mr. Asante's face just before the broad smile is a micro expressions. So Mr. Asante was actually exhibiting a micro expressions. Okay, and this micro expression is trying to say that Mr. Asante is trying to hide something from Kofi. He is not trying to open up and tell Kofi what the real issue is. Are you okay? So, in what Kofi observed is trying to say that Mr. Asante is actually trying to or hesitating to open up entirely to to Kofi. Are you okay? And that Mr. Asante is not in a right emotional state because you see the case study. Look at the last part of the case study. He said that at one point, Mr. Asante gives a very broad smile and say that I am perfectly fine, but Kofi noticed a brief frown flashing across his face just before the smile appears. So it's actually trying to tell us what this is trying to tell us that Mr. Asante is actually telling Kofi a different thing altogether. So what Kofi is actually seeing from Desante's facial expression is communicating differently from what Desante is actually telling Kofi. So what Desante is saying is different from what Kofi is also observing from his facial expressions. So it means that Desante is telling Kofi lies based on the facial expressions. Please, are you good with this one? Please, are you fine? Please, are you fine? Please, are you okay? Please let me know if you are fine. I can continue. Has the line break or you can still hear me? Please let me know if I think the light went off, so I don't know if I'm still heard or the line has break. Please can you hear me? Okay. So that is it. And the next question says that said in essay form, discuss how Kofi should ethically use the nonverbal information observed during the assessment to provide two practical suggestions. Now, we can say that now we can say that based on based on what Kofi observed during the interview, Kofi can observe as objective behavioral observations. So Kofi can actually do assessment note. Are you okay? So he can actually please is the voice. Oh, I can't see your reply, so it's not easy. The light went off, so please can you hear me now? Let me know if you can hear me now. Can you hear me now, please? Please let me know if I'm heard. Can you hear me now? Okay, so I think someone can hear me. All right. Okay. So I think I think with the third question, It's actually Kofi trying to build trust. Are you okay? Trying to inject a sense of hope in the assessment session with Mr. Asante, and also trying to create an enabling environment that will make Mr. Asante feel free and okay. Are you okay? So I think with that, it can actually help Mr. Asante to overcome what he's actually going through. Are you okay? So that is also for this question under the case study. Okay. Now let's move on. All right. Okay. Now lecture 4 is about verbal communication in social work. Okay. Verbal communication in social work. Okay. So now the question here says that in a well-structured essay, explain the three key elements on which effective verbal communication depends on, according to the course. So according to this course, we should explain three key elements on which effective verbal communication depends on. Okay, according to the course. Now, we know that verbal communication actually depends on several things. Are you okay? It actually depends on several things. Now, a verbal communication, as I said, it says in an essay form. So it means that we have to start with what? With an introduction. In this question, we have to start with an introduction. So with the introduction, we have to actually talk about what verbal communication is. Are you okay? So write something small about verbal communication. Now, with that, you can actually go over or go on and respond to the question itself. So we can say that verbal communication is what? Is the process through which social workers transmit information, are you okay, and also build relationship with clients. So through verbal communication, practitioners or social workers transmit information and also they build relationship with their clients. So that is the means through which social workers communicate and also build relationship with their client. That's verbal communication. Are you okay? Now, this is just a simple this is just a simple introduction. Okay, this is just a simple introduction for the verbal communication. Now we go to the question itself, that we should explain the three key elements on which effective verbal communication depends on. Are you okay? So what are some of the elements that effective verbal communication depends on? Now, effective verbal communication depends on several key elements. The first key element is what? It's selection of words. Selection of words. So selection of words is the first key element on which effective verbal communication depends on. Selection of words. Okay. Selection of words. So that is the first one. Selection of words. Now, when we say selection of words, what are we trying to say? So you see, words are not natural. Okay. Words actually carries meanings. Words actually carries meanings. So the specific word that a speaker chose or choose can influence the message they are trying to communicate. So selection of words is one key. Please, can't you hear me, or you can still you can hear me? Please, can you hear me? I think the network has been bad, but then maybe I'm still here. Please let me know if I'm heard or I'm not. Okay, so that is it. Now, as I said, the first answer to this question, or the first element on which effective verbal communication depends on, is what? Selection of words. Okay, selection of words. And I'm saying that with the selection of words, if you are trying to explain, so selection of words in social work simply means that words actually carries meaning. Okay, words carries meaning, and that a specific word that you choose can actually influence the speaker. Okay, it can actually influence the speaker and also the message that the speaker is trying to communicate. Okay, so the first key element that effective communication depends on is what? Is the selection of words. Selection of words. That's word selection. Okay, that's the first one. Now, the second key element is the context. The context. Okay, so the context is the second element that not that verbal communication depends on. That's what context. And when we say context, context refers to the setting, are you okay, or the situation or the circumstances surrounding a communication. So the setting, the situation, or the circumstances surrounding a communication is called a context. So context is actually one of the key elements that effective communication depends on, the context. Okay. Now, you know that in some contexts, there are some words that you cannot say in some contexts because the context will determine or decide which words are appropriate and which words are not appropriate. That's the context. So in Ghanaian context, there are some words that are not appropriate for someone to use. Okay, so in Ghanaian context, actually, you can't actually say some words to the elderly. Are you okay? So context always determine how effective a communication is. Because I'm not sure you can go before Otumfo and start anyhow. That context is different. And also meeting with your friends too, that context is also what actually different. So the context determine or decides what type of how effective a communication is. So that's the second one. Now, the third element is also about the sender and the receiver. Okay, so both the sender and the receiver can actually make a communication effective or not. So effective communication also depends on the sender and the receiver. Okay, so if the sender sends an effective communication, a clear communication, the receiver will also receive it and makes what? A clear meaning out of it. So effective communication also depends on the sender and the receiver. Okay, so these are the three key elements that effective communication depends on. The first one is selection of words. The second one is the context, and the third one is what? Is actually the sender and the receiver. Please, are we fine? Please, are we fine? Please, are we okay? Let me know if you are fine and we move on. Okay. All right. Okay. So the next question says that we should write an essay explaining the concept of third ear in social work communication and why it is important in when working with clients with it. Okay, so what is the relevance of the concept third ear? So when we say third ear, third ear, what is third ear in social work communication? And what is the relevance of the concept third ear? If you say third ear, now you see, in social work practice, clients do not always communicate their true feelings. You see, I'm trying to explain the third ear to us. In social work practice, clients do not always communicate their feelings to us. So sometimes their needs are being explained in a direct language. Okay, so it is up to the social worker with the help of the third year to be able to get an extended explanation to what the client actually wants to communicate. Okay, so the third year refers to a social worker's ability or capacity to listen beneath the surface of the client's words. So third year refers to the social worker's ability or capacity to listen beneath or beyond the surface of the client's literal words. Are you okay? So with the help of the third years, you'll be able to have a better and more advanced understanding beyond what the client is actually trying to communicate to you. Are you okay? So with the help of the third year, you will be able to know or get a deeper understanding beyond what the client is actually telling you. That is the purpose of the third year in social work communication. Because we know that sometimes when the client come to you, they do not always communicate their true feelings and also their needs to us. So they actually say it in certain manner. So with the help of the third year, that will help us that will help us to actually get a more advanced or a deeper meaning beyond what the client is actually trying to tell us. Are you okay? So that is um, what the third year is trying to tell us. Now, what is the importance of the third year? Third year in what? In social work practice. So the third year is very, very significant in social work practice because one, it enables more accurate and comprehensive assessment of the true picture of the client situation. So the third year is very, very important in social work practice because one, it enables more accurate or it enables the social worker to have more accurate and comprehensive assessment of the true picture of the client situation. So with the help of the third year, the social worker will have a true picture of the client situation. That is the relevance of the third year in social work practice. Now, the third year also help the social worker to strengthen the therapeutic relationship. The third year also help the social worker to strengthen the therapeutic relationship. That is also another significance of the third year. It helps the social worker to strengthen the counseling or the therapeutic relationship with the client. Are you okay? So that is also the another relevance of the third year. Okay, so the third year also help the social worker to strengthen the therapeutic relationship with the client. Okay, all right. So that is what the third year is about, and also its significance in social work practice. Are you okay? So that's actually what this question is also about. Please, are we fine? Please, are we fine? Please, are we fine with the third year and also its significance? Please, are we fine with the third year and its significance? So that is what the third year actually does. So it helps the social worker to have um, a clear picture of what the client is actually going through. So it gives a, an advanced meaning. It gives a meaning way beyond what the client is actually trying to communicate. That's the third year. Okay. All right. All right. Now, the next question is on the three C's. Okay. The three C's. The three C's. So that is the principle of um, so they are the principles of effective communication in social practice. The principles. All right. And I hope you all know the three C's. So we have clear, concise, and also consistent. Okay, so these are the three C's, and they are the core principle of what effective communication. So the question says that in an essay form, we should define each of the three C's and explain why they are important in what social work client interaction. So is why are the three C's very relevant in social work what practice with clients? So that is the question. What the question is about, the relevance of the three C's, and I hope you all know the three C's. So I've even highlighted it here. So we have clear, we have concise, we have what consistent. So these are the three C's. So we are trying to look at how or the importance of it, and also and what it is. So what are the three C's and its relevance in social work practice? Okay. Now, the first principle or the first core principle of the three C's is what? Is clear. And when we say clear, clear means what? Clarity. Clear means clarity. So when we say clear or clarity, clarity simply means that you are delivering an information in a way that it is easily understood. Are you okay? So when you deliver an information that is easily understood by the recipient, it simply means that that information is clear. So with clear or clarity, it simply means that you are delivering an information that is easily understood. So delivering an information that is easily understood, and that message is free from ambiguity or jargons. So when an information is free from ambiguity and jargons, when there's no jargons, when there's no ambiguity and in an information, that information is deemed to be clear and what? And straightforward. Are you okay? So that is what? Clarity. So with clarity, it simply means that that information that you are delivering is what? Is easily understood by the recipient. That information is easily understood by the recipient. And this is because that information is free from ambiguity and also jargons. It is straightforward. If you want somebody to buy something for you, hello, please buy me this thing. Straightforward. There's clear in that what message. That is what? That's the first C. That is clear or clarity. All right. Now, the second C is what? Concise. Concise. So concise is also what? Conciseness is the same thing. So concise means conciseness. So when we say a communication is concise, it simply means that that message is very clear and it has no repetitions. Okay, so when you convey or when you communicate a message without unnecessary repetition, it simply means that that information is concise. When you communicate a message without unnecessary repetition, that message is concise. So when we say conciseness, so a concise communication means that you are conveying a message without unnecessary repetitions. So that is what? Conciseness. Please, are you fine with the conciseness? And when a message is concise, it means that you are respecting the time of your client, because you are not repeating and what? Wasting the client time. So when a message is concise, that message is free from what? Repetitions. And when there are no repetitions, it simply means that you are trying to respect the client time. Are you okay? In that therapy process. So that is conciseness or concise. Now the third C is what? It's consistent or consistency. It's the same thing. So when we say consistency, it simply means that you are maintaining the same message, you are maintaining the same style, you are maintaining the same tone across all interaction. So when you are communicating with someone and they say that you are consistent, it simply means that you are maintaining the same tone, you are maintaining the same style, you are maintaining the same style and also the same message in your process or in your communication process. It simply means that you are consistent. Are you okay? So consistent simply means that you are maintaining a steady, coherent message, the same tone, the same style across all interaction with the client. Are you okay? That means you are consistent. Please, are we fine with the consistency? Please, are we fine with the consistency? Please, are we okay? Okay. Now, this question says that we should discuss three consequences a social worker may face if the principle of clarity is ignored in communication with clients. So, if the principle of clarity is ignored in communication, what will be or what are some of its what consequences that it will have? Are you okay with the client? So, consequences of what ignoring clarity in communication what with clients. All right. Now, the first consequence, if there is no clarity in communication, is that it normally leads to what? To mistakes. Okay. So when there is no clarity, it normally leads to what? Mistakes. And the mistakes is as a result of what? The misinterpretation. Okay. So when there is no clarity, it normally leads to what? Mistakes. It seems the network is very, very bad. I don't know at this end. All right. So please, let me come. Hold on. Hold on. Let me come.